Before we get to the updates that have been made since the last progress report, let's refresh a little bit. The PyVisualize software is really about helping the user of NetLogo behavior space search through their massive set of simulation data. If you're using NetLogo behavior space, you're using it because you want to generate a huge set of simulation data. So you have a set of simulations, and then for each simulation, you have sets of data. It's a large amount of data. And you very easily run into a problem of how do you extract meaningful conclusions from this data. So what we implemented was a heat map to quickly and on a high level ascertain which simulations you're interested in. And to do that, first we needed to take the data coming from NetLogo behavior space, which is in a CSV format, and we needed to convert it to HDF5. Because once we have it in HDF5, we can very easily and in a very specific and organized manner access whatever data for whatever simulation we want. It's really quite beautiful how it's worked out, if you don't mind me saying. So here's your heat map, and it's showing you, of course, I don't have the color bar implemented, so it's not obvious what does this mean, but let's say red is let's say it means, it's a very high value for this variable that you're using to differentiate all these different simulations. It's like your search variable. It's the thing you're using to determine which simulations, like ranking the simulations, like comparing the simulations using the value of this variable. In this case, the variable was the total population at the end of the simulation for the indism model. So we wanted to know, okay, which simulations have a higher total population, which ones have a lower. So let's say in this case, red is your highest. So we open it up, we want to see. Okay, so it shows us all of our data. Now, obviously there's some problems, some aesthetic problems here. I did implement the titles for it. The titles literally come from the NetLogo behavior space. So these are the data that the user has selected in behavior space. So they should know what this refers to because they selected it. Clearly, I need to work on the formatting of it because it's shrinking, it's compressing everything. That's obvious. I'll work on that. But one of the things that I thought was very important was once you have this data and you're able to see this data for this simulation, you also want to know what are the parameters for that. I call them attributes. I could just change the name to parameters, and that's probably what I'll do. But it shows you the attributes that for this simulation, here are the initial values that were set to run this simulation. And this is all data you're going to want to know, because if this is a simulation you're interested in, then you're going to want to know, okay, not only, well, what happened to the different data that I recorded, what are the plots of the different data for the simulation time frame, and then what were the actual parameters for that simulation. So moving forward, I will be working on, again, more aesthetic things, getting this to auto plot and not sort of compress. I mean, worst comes to worst, of course, the user could just expand it, but we'd like to have it so that it automatically just sets the right size and they don't have to mess with that.